Welcome back, nail queens. In today's video, I'm going to be doing soft gel extensions and a dip powder overlay. So these are the tips I'm going to be using today. Usually I use the Painted Desert Extra Short Almond, but I wanted to switch it up. These brands have similar lengths in their short and extra short almond length. They're very similar. The iGel Beauty Short Almond is a little bit wider and just a tiny bit longer than the Painted Desert ones. So I figured since these are similar in size and length, I would give it a try. So what I'm doing now is I'm just fitting the tips to each nail. I'm sizing, making sure it fits the cuticle area nice and flush, and sidewall to sidewall, so it's not too large or too small for my nails. Now I'm using my E-file drill bit to etch the underside of these jelly tips. These are not pre-etched, but even if I had pre-etched ones, I personally do always etch the underside just as an extra precaution. Now that all of those are etched, I'm using this protein bond from Young Nails and I'm scrubbing it on the inside of each of the tips right over where I etched it. So I try not to oversaturate. I really try to scrub the liquid into the etching. It really just helps it grip even more. Just try it out, see if it works for you if you guys use jelly tips. Now I'm just going to use a gel base and apply a thin layer of this to all of my nails. So my nails are kind of like this is what I would consider a medium length for me. It's not short because I have a free edge, but it's also not extremely long. And jelly tips have really helped me grow out my natural nails. I'm very grateful for that. But the longer my nails are, the more difficult it is for me to apply my jelly tips. So that's something to keep in mind if you are new to jelly tips and you have longer natural nails, but you want jelly tips to either give you that gorgeous shape, that apex. And then I'm going to use the Luminary Base Clarity. This is like a builder gel. This is new to me. This is my first time using this product to apply my jelly tips. So I'm just going to paint it on the underside of the nail here and put a little dollop, like a little glob at the cuticle area. This really just helps give it enough gel so that the nail has enough gel on the nail to extend from my cuticle to my free edge. And then I take the jelly tip and I focus it on the cuticle area and press it down towards the free edge, bring it under my flash curing lamp, and then cure it in place. I have the Painted Desert Sidewinder. Y'all, this is a good lamp. I'm really impressed with this one. It gives me the best of both worlds. I have the gooseneck thing, but also it doesn't clamp on. It just sits on your desk. It doesn't need to be hooked into a cord or anything. You do what you want with it. You move it wherever you want. Very impressed with this Sidewinder lamp. So there's definitely more that needs to be done with this nail, like finish filing, more gel top coat on the underside of the nail, but I will get to that process after I'm done applying all the tips onto my nail. So I applied the gel to this nail and then I'm going to apply it onto my finger. I'm going to do the same process I did before. I just focus it on the cuticle area and then I press down, letting the gel float to the free edge, just like that. And then I go cure in the Sidewinder lamp. If you're ever in a position where you apply your jelly tip onto your nail and it's not cured, but you don't like how it sat on your nail, it seems crooked, there's a bubble or something, this is how you remove it. Scrape the gel. So I'm going to show that process again a little bit slower. I wasn't happy with this, so I just applied pressure at the cuticle and scraped the gel. So the gel stays on the jelly tip and it won't make a mess. I don't have to wipe it off with rubbing alcohol or anything. I literally just take the tip and scrape it on my nail, and all of the gel comes off with it. That is a great way to fix a jelly tip if you are not liking how it's looking before you flash cure. So on this nail, I'm going to apply the jelly tip to my thumb, and everything turns out fine, but at some point it seemed like there was just too many bubbles when I flash cured, and I haven't fully cured the nail, so it literally comes right off. I made sure not to continue curing because I was dissatisfied with how it was looking. So I literally just reapplied a little bit more gel to the underside of the jelly tip and then repeated the process. I was only able to do this repeating it because the flash curing lamp hadn't fully done its job. It only lasted a couple of seconds. So now I have to do some finishing touches on my nails. They're not completely done. So what I'm going to do right now is I have a little cavity on my thumb. What I mean by cavity is there's a little spot here at the tip where the gel didn't meet the free edge all the way. So what I do to remedy that is I take some gel top coat and I literally just put it here at the tip area and let it seep into that empty cavity where the gel is not, and then it fills that void. I'll make sure to bring this up in my jelly tip tips and tricks video in the future. And then now I'm taking this e-file bit and going around the cuticle area to file flush. This way the jelly tip sits more flush and natural to my cuticles. So now that all of the finishing touches with the jelly tips are done, I'm ready to start dipping. So I have all my jelly tips on my nails now, but I'm not going to be applying peel base. Usually I use the Kimber's Creations peel base over my jelly tips, but I've gotten so many requests to do a style of video like this where I show applying my jelly tips and then dipping directly over it without peel base. So it's optional if you want to rough up or buff up the surface of your jelly tips. It's really your choice. You can leave them glossy, shiny, or roughed up. There's nothing wrong with either one. I personally prefer to keep mine nice and glossy, but I just wanted to rough one up to show you guys that you can do it all nice and buffed up like this. So now I'm just going to take my Dip Powder Base Bond liquid. This is like a super glue liquid, and it's what I use to adhere dip powder onto my nails. I'm going to be using a good variety of dip powders for today's video. So the first color I have here is a glitter called Seaside Reflections. It gives me like blue, but also like yellowish tints. So here you can see it looks very blue, very icy. But if the sun hits it, the way the glitter is, like all the different shards, it just like glows back at me. Now the color I'm working with is called Jawbreaker. It's a white dip powder. It's a solid white, but it glows. That is so cool. And the reason why I chose this is because I'm going to be layering a milky floral dip powder on top of this. I wanted the base to be more stark white and have that fun feature of it glowing. So this isn't going to be the only color on my middle finger. So I'm going to repeat Seaside Reflections on my index and then also move on to the other colors on my nails. This is what everything is looking like so far. Since I'm using jelly tips, my nails are essentially pre-shaped and it just makes everything look so much better. And it takes most of the work out of shaping for me later on when I have to file, shape, and buff. So I'm using this teal color called Giving Back. It was an anniversary color from Soul Dips. Oh, by the way, all of the dips I'm using here today are from Soul Dips. I'm going to have everything listed and linked below. If you're ever curious about the products that I use in my videos, they're always linked in the description box of my videos. And shameless plug, I'm also going to have my Facebook group linked below in the description box. It's usually at the top where it says connect with me. So if you are not in the Nail Queens community lounge yet, I highly recommend you go join and join so many like-minded others who share a passion for nails and learning how to do their nails. You don't have to be a pro or a nail tech to join. We're more than happy to have you there regardless of your skill level. Anyways, thank you guys so much for coming to my TED Talk about the Nail Queens Community Lounge. So I'm going to get back into talking about my manicure. So I'm still using the teal color called Giving Back, and then on my ring finger, I'm going to do a glitter. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a glitter that kind of matches the floral dip. You guys will see it later on, but I'm literally still winging this. I got up and got the glitter like in the middle of this manicure because I thought I was going to do the white on that nail or maybe more flowers. But I was like, I want to bring something in to match the flowers more because the teal is darker. It's on the darker side. The flowers are more on the brighter blue side. So now I'm applying dip base to this white nail, the one that glows, and I'm going to be doing the dip in the floral nail. So like I said before, I did this specifically because I want it to have a starker white background. The dip has more of a milky white background. And as you can see here, the flowers aren't all aesthetically pleasing in the first dip, so it's totally okay to take some tweezers and hand place things around if you need to. That's what I'm doing here, because sometimes when you dip into a floral dip, it does not look so perfect on the dip. If you're interested in seeing a dedicated video on how I apply floral, like dried flower dip powders, let me know in the comments below. I would love to know if this is something you're interested in. It is definitely a technique of its own, unlike chunky glitters. It's not as simple as a fine glitter because there's just so many moving pieces to a floral dried flower dip powder. They're absolutely beautiful, but you have to have patience with them. So before I move on to the last nail, I'm going to take out my clear dip powder and just dunk the middle finger into the clear powder. The reason I'm doing this is because there's still wet base bond all over my nail. So this is just going to help speed up the base bond drying process and help encapsulate like those voids spaces. Don't worry, I'm still going to encapsulate the floral dried flower nail in clear dip powder, but it really just helps soak up the base bond. So I pulled out Moonlight for my ring finger. It is a perfect match for Northern Bluestar. This color, Northern Bluestar, which is the floral dip, is a March exclusive color for Soul Dips, and it was such a popular color that Soul actually is restocking the color. They're actively working on doing a restock. It hasn't happened yet, so if you're watching this video, it might be happening soon. Just stay tuned to their Instagram and Facebook groups. It really helps to turn on post notifications and like really follow the brands if you're interested in hearing about restock information. So now I'm going to clear encapsulate all of my nails, including the solid and the shimmery glitter on my ring finger. I prefer to encapsulate all of my nails, even the solids. I know a lot of people only do the glitters, and some people might be like I used to be and didn't encapsulate at all. I've learned over time that it makes a world of a difference in how your finished look of your manicure looks. It definitely looks more polished, more glossy, and like the elements that you have in your powders, it makes them look more elevated. So here's what the manicure looks like once it's been clear encapsulated. I let that dry for a few minutes and then dust everything off. So here's what it looks like dusted. And now I'm going to apply a generous layer of activator to all of the nails. This is going to help solidify, harden, or cure, whatever you want to call it, the dip powder. That way I can do my finish filing, shaping, and buffing. I'm not going to focus too much on the filing and buffing because it takes a long time. But what I usually do is just like worry about the cuticles, the sidewalls, your standard stuff. But since these are jelly tips, it goes by so much faster because they're already pre-shaped, and I use the jelly tips as a guide for my shape. Then I use these orange buffing blocks to just smooth out any like grittiness that I might find. And since I clear encapsulated the glitters, they are going to be a little lumpy, so this is going to help completely smooth it out. Now I'm going to apply the dip powder top coat to all of my nails. So what I do is I apply a layer in like 2 or 3 strokes. I try not to apply too many strokes to the nail. And then I wipe the brush on my paper towel before returning it to the bottle. I repeat this on the same nail after 15 or 20 seconds have passed, and then I have a perfectly smooth and glossy nail. So it's essential that you wait about 15 or 20 seconds before you move on and apply the second layer of top coat. If you are impatient, you can go through and do 1 layer on all of your nails first, and then move on and repeat the second top coat on all of the nails. So kind of like this, where I'm applying the top coat to each individual nail. I did skip a little bit because I was out of shot for a lot of it. I'm sorry about that, but this is the finished look pre-cuticle oil. So cuticle oil changes my life. I actually have a skincare video that I just uploaded last week. So if you want to see how I take care of my skin, especially post manicure, I definitely recommend checking out that video because I have extremely dry skin. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate you guys for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.